Hello, everybody. Welcome to Minnesota Sports HQ. I'm Ben, and today we're going to be doing a little World Cup review. Now, most people have just done what their thoughts on the final were, or you know, like their reaction to the games. But I thought I'd do a team by team look through and see how every team did, and whether they overperformed, did as expected, or underperformed. And I don't know if I'm going to try and split them all evenly. I'm probably not going to. I'm probably just going to do, whatever I think. I'm going to go through starting with Group A and then go all the way through Group H. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Over the rest of the summer, I'm probably going to be making videos that I'm enjoying to make. I mean, since I don't have a following yet, I'm not that worried if I miss a day or two, but there's always something to talk about in the sports world. So, if you're from Minnesota, like the Loons, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I do a lot of Loons content and, I mean, obviously all the other sports in Minnesota that we all love together. So let's get started with Group A. Start with the winners, and that would be Uruguay. They won all three of their games in the group and beat Portugal in the round of 16 and got to the quarterfinals where they lost to the eventual champions France. I'd say Uruguay overperformed a little bit. Winning all their group games, not allowing a single goal through the group, and beating Ronaldo's Portugal, and only losing to France because they didn't have Cavani due to injury. So, who knows? With Cavani, they might have beaten France, and who knows after that. So I definitely think they overperformed from what most people expected. All right, moving on to Russia. Now, Russia finished second in the group after a really big win over Saudi Arabia on the first day. The hype kind of continued, and they got second in their group after pretty much only losing to Uruguay, and then they had a nasty tie with Spain in the round of 16 and somehow beat Spain, and then lost on penalties to Croatia in the quarterfinals. Now, Russia was the lowest ranked team coming into this tournament, so for them to make the quarterfinals, that's definitely an overperformance. Big games from Denis Cheryshev and Alexander Golovin, made this team look like, home field advantage was really taken over. But good job to Russia for this tournament and how they handled everything within their country, and thought it was a great World Cup. Now, moving on to Saudi Arabia, they did get a win over Egypt. Obviously got battered by Russia, so their dream was kind of over the first day. I mean, kind of everybody put them off anyway, so I don't think they really had much expectation to start with. So they did about how people expected them to do, and getting a win was great for them. Now, moving on to Egypt. I mean, what can you say about that? Almost getting a point against Uruguay without Mo Salah, to losing all three of your games and looking like the most overhyped team ever. This is definitely underperformance. Mo Salah scored so many goals for Liverpool this year. I would know. I'm pretty sure he put 5 against past us. So um, there's that. But for how much talent Egypt has, it's just kind of disappointing to see them lose all their games. I think they definitely should have at least gotten out of this group. So moving on to Group B, we'll start off with Spain, and it's tough to know what Spain should have gotten because they sacked their manager 2 days before the tournament. Their two center backs hate each other, and they didn't lose in their group. Had that really good game against Portugal first game and kind of snuck through the rest, and lost to Russia in penalties in the round of 16 in a game where I believe they broke the record for most passes in a game. So you got a record, but also you didn't do great. So I'm going to say round of 16 is an underperformance for Spain after winning in 2010. You really should be expecting them to do more than what they did. Portugal in second, also 5 points. Ronaldo really had to carry them, and when he wasn't firing, it didn't look good. Um, you know, that game against Uruguay in the round of 16, they deserved to lose, definitely. And, considering they won the Euros in 2016, I'm going to say that this is an underperformance from Portugal as well. Now, moving on to Iran, they beat Morocco, drew with Portugal, and lost to Spain. That's pretty reasonable for Iran. Morocco is better than most people give them credit for. So I'm going to say Iran did better than expectations, only missing out by 1 point of going to the next round. And I don't remember the last time they were in a tournament. Yeah, what can you say? Good job, Iran. And moving on to Morocco, I actually really like Morocco. Um, they have some good players. Benatia at the back is a solid player. He's been pretty much carrying them. Hakan Ziyech is a midfielder. He's really good. But I think they definitely went below expectations. I mean, finishing below Iran, that's probably was their only expectation, was to finish above Iran, and they definitely did not do that. So moving on to Group C, we have the champions, France, and in the group they weren't great, but one thing you noticed with France was over the course of the tournament they got better and better every single game. Now with their team, I definitely should have said like quarterfinals or semifinals minimum, but they won the tournament, so anytime you win it, you overperformed, especially for how bad they looked in the group stage. Now Denmark did pretty well. They got unlucky to lose to Croatia in the round of 16, but did well to get through their group, especially over Peru. But unlucky losing to Croatia in the round of 16. Kasper Schmeichel was immense this tournament, really kept him in it, and interested to see what they do at Euro 2020. Now, Peru, they were the 12th best team in the world prior to this tournament. Somehow, and they played really well. It was just kind of unfortunate that, I think they had 28 shots in their first two games and no goals to speak of. And, with that, that's always a recipe for disaster. So I say that they finished about where people expected them to finish, either second or third, not too much else. Australia in fourth, not winning a game, but they played well against France and Denmark. And it was unfortunate that they lost both those games. And most people didn't expect him to do much, especially with Tim Cahill being 38 years old. So that's probably about an average finish that we'd expect from them. Now, looking at Group D, all of these teams really impressed me. I mean, Croatia, undefeated in the group, made it to the finals on the easy side of the bracket, played really well as a team. Several guys that I hadn't heard of before, really taking the center stage and helping this team to get to, the finals after beating several good teams like England, Russia, and Denmark on their way. Argentina finished second, and they made the finals in 2014 when they lost to Germany. But this tournament, their formation was not good at all. Drawing with Iceland in their first game definitely didn't help matters. So Argentina definitely did not perform as well as they should have. Barely made it to the group stage, and got beat by France in the round of 16, which you can't complain about. That was a very good game, by the way. Probably second best game of the tournament, I'd say. Moving on to Nigeria and Iceland, both of these teams finished where we expected. Both of them have had good moments against Argentina and Croatia and against each other. But, Argentina just had that little bit extra in the end, and, both teams finished outside of the knockout stage. And moving on to Group E, we got Brazil. They were definite favorites for the tournament, so they definitely underperformed. They barely got by in their group, leaving it late to score several winners, and beat Mexico in the round of 16. That was a good game to watch. And then, got beat by Belgium in the quarterfinals. A little bit unlucky there, but Belgium definitely took their chances well, and yeah, Brazil was out. Switzerland definitely impressed me, definitely overperformed. I thought Serbia would have gone through, but some late goals from Shaqiri and their goalie Jan Sommer were incredible, and they pulled through. So yeah, Switzerland overperformed a little bit. Now let's move on to Serbia, and I'd say Serbia kept it even for what our expectations were. We definitely all expected them to finish second or third in the group, and probably go out in the round of 16. But I'd say they kept it even. Costa Rica, after reaching the quarterfinals in the 2014 World Cup, they lost some guys. Obviously, Francisco Calvo, who plays for Minnesota United, plays for them. Um, I I think, eh, I'd say expectations weren't too high in this group. It wasn't the easiest of groups, that's for sure. And I just wanted to credit Switzerland for putting up a good fight against Sweden in the round of 16. Now on to Sweden. Obviously, making it to the quarterfinals was definitely improvement on what everybody thought in a group with Germany, Mexico, and South Korea in it. For Sweden to win it was really impressive, and then beating Switzerland and then playing a decent game against England, I think definitely they overperformed. Um, Mexico, I mean, what can you say about Mexico? They were so inconsistent. The first two games, they looked like they could probably win the whole thing, but their second two games, yeah, they were against Sweden and Brazil, but you got to beat who you got to beat. And yeah, I don't know. So I'd say Mexico was about even, but the curse has still continued, so I am 100% happy with that. Um, South Korea getting the win, very impressive. Um, Ahead of Germany in the group, um, even though they got third. So I'd say that was about par with what we had as far as expectations. Germany, so here's your normal low. Like, this is like through the couch, like that bad. They got lucky to win against Sweden and they lost both their other games. Very surprising, of course, but that's what happens when you give your manager a new contract before the World Cup. He can take a little more chances because he has his job security there. I got that from Jimmy Conrad. If you don't watch him, he's a former U.S. men's national team player who has his own YouTube channel. So I'll put his link in the description. And then moving on to Group G, Belgium. I'd say probably we're on par. We know what this team could accomplish. They were basically a Premier League All-Star team, and they won their group, beat Brazil, beat Japan barely. I'd say it's about par with how they should have done. Obviously, I picked them at the beginning of the tournament to win, and that was just my error. England, I'd say they overperformed. Most England fans were hoping for, quarterfinals or round of 16, and they made it all the way to the semis. Granted, they had a flippin' easy path, but you know what? Credit to where credit's due. They made it to the semifinals. No one will remember in 50 years that they played flippin' Colombia and Sweden to get there, but semifinals. Um, Tunisia, you know, I'd say on par, and Panama as well on par. I mean, both of the teams weren't great. I mean, this group was pretty easy to predict from the get-go. Credit to Tunisia for beating Panama, but wow, what a dead game that was. Moving on to the last group, Colombia. I think they were a little on par, reaching the round of 16, winning the group, losing to England in penalties. A little unlucky. What can you say about that? Japan definitely overperformed. they beat Colombia, and then they beat Poland. Or no, they drew with Senegal. That's right. And then they lost to Poland, but they still made it through fair play because Senegal had more yellow cards, which kind of stinks for them. But they almost beat Belgium in the round of 16. That would have been incredible. But I'd say they definitely overperformed. Senegal really unlucky to get third in this group. I'd say it was about the expectation, but they did look like the best African team at this tournament, which is credit to Senegal. And man, that coach's dreadlocks were just incredible. Um, look up Senegal's coach if you haven't seen it. And then Poland, what a huge disappointment. I had them winning this group in my predictions, and last in the group, Lewandowski looking more isolated than anything in Antarctica could be. Um, so, you know, always great. Not even sure if Bayern Munich wants him at this point, but, when you're playing in that league, it's anyone could score 20 goals in a season against some of those defenses on Bayern Munich. So yeah, those are all 32 teams. Some overperformed, some were at their par, and some underperformed. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more soccer content or any form of Minnesota content. I'm going to be putting out videos for sure for the rest of the week, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'll talk to you guys later.